In today's episode, we are talking all about Saint Valentine's Day, eats and treats, whether it's desserts or supper recipes, we're sharing it all. Welcome back to the Making It a Home podcast. I'm your host, Molly, from the blog and YouTube channel, Plum Branch Home. I invite you to grab a warm drink, get cozy, and join me for this episode. Saint Valentine's Day is coming up very quickly, and I thought, why not get on here and do a podcast episode all about the best recipes that you could make for yourself or your family or your loved one. So first, of course, we're talking all about chocolate. You have to have chocolate on Valentine's Day, and in our home, we don't necessarily celebrate Valentine's Day as the rest of the world does. We kind of simplify it. We focus on the liturgical part of it instead. And I usually make something special for breakfast, lunch, supper, or just like a dessert. My husband and I usually don't go out and sit in a restaurant or anything. We have a weekly date night, so we're like, let's just skip the craziness of Valentine's Day out at restaurants, especially because it's on a Friday this year, and let's do something at home. So sometimes we'll grab food and bring it home, but most of the time I'll make something, and I love doing that. So there has to be something that's chocolate. So every year I make some kind of chocolatey dessert or treat, regardless of our meal that we have at night. So I wanted to share a few of these ideas that I've done in the past or that sound really, really good that are on the blog. Before I dive into these, you can find all of these recipes over on the plumbranchhome.com blog. I'll leave that link down below in the description of this podcast episode. But the first and the best recipe that I love on Valentine's Day is my sourdough chocolate chip scones. My husband and I love them. They are so simple and easy. If you are new to the Plum Branch Home content, then you are in for a treat. My sourdough scones are basically famous. I guess you could say that. Everyone loves them on the blog. All of the readers go crazy for them. I really try to make scones simple and easy and not hard to make. They are so simple because I used to think they were really hard, but they're really not. They are just easy, and you just have to have the right recipe. 100% the chocolate chip scones. I also have an espresso chocolate chip scone recipe on there. That would be great for a morning breakfast or brunch. You could also do my strawberry chocolate chip scones. Those have dehydrated strawberries in them. So what I did was I took dehydrated or dried strawberries from the grocery store and I blended them up in a blender, and then I poured that into the batter so it makes the scones strawberry flavored and it turns them pink, but then you have chocolate chips sprinkled throughout, and it is fantastic. I really love that recipe. I developed that one for last Valentine's Day. So that's definitely a good Saint Valentine's Day recipe. It's even pink and everything. And then what else do we have? Another good one is my chocolate chia pudding. This is divine. It is so good. It's really simple. So you just grab chia seeds from the grocery store and you soak them in any kind of milk as well as any sweetener. So I do honey and unsweetened cocoa powder, and you add that all into a bowl and you mix it up and let it sit for a few hours in the fridge. And then those little chia seeds expand and absorb all of the liquid and it turns into a pudding. Now it is kind of like a tapioca type texture, but it's smaller little pieces just because of the seeds. You could try to blend it up in a food processor. I've not really done that. I've tried it one time and it didn't really get as smooth as I had hoped. So if you have a really good food processor, you probably could get a smooth pudding texture. But that is a great recipe. It's really easy and simple and so chocolatey. For desserts, you could also do sourdough sugar cookies and just cut them out into little hearts or just anything Valentine's Day related. You could do that. You could do mini fruit pizzas. So these are my sourdough sugar cookie recipe on the bottom, and then it's like a cream cheese honey mixture that you put on top, and then you put any kind of berries and fruit. So you could do strawberries. You could even drizzle them with a little chocolate and do a strawberry chocolate type mini fruit pizza. You could do chocolate covered strawberries. I have a really simple tutorial on the blog for that as well. So yeah, these are just really easy, simple dessert recipes you could do on St. Valentine's Day. Now, for a meal, if you prefer to stay home and make something, you could do so many things. So if you wanted something heart-shaped, you could turn my sourdough pizza crust recipe into little mini heart-shaped pizzas or a giant one. If you've seen the commercials for like all of the pizza places, so I think Domino's does a heart-shaped pizza, Pizza Hut does a heart-shaped pizza, but you could do one of those at home, and then if you have mozzarella sticks, you could stuff it in the crust of your pizza before you bake it. So what I would do is, I actually did this last night for a homemade pizza. On Wednesday nights, we do homemade pizzas. And so last night I wanted to make it a little more special, and I took these leftover mozzarella sticks we had in the fridge, and I tore them in half, and then I put them on the outskirts of my pizza dough that I rolled out. And this is sourdough pizza dough, and it's super easy. But then you just take the dough and roll it a little bit, probably about an inch over those over the mozzarella sticks that are halved. And you want to do this before you put it in the oven to bake it, so like before you put your toppings on. And then that way at the end of all of the bake time, your mozzarella is really melty and gooey and yummy. So you could do that with like a heart-shaped pizza and make it a little more special. Let's see, you could also do like heart-shaped biscuits. So if you're having biscuits and gravy, you could do a little heart-shaped cutout and make your biscuits heart-shaped. You could even cut tortillas into a heart shape and make little heart-shaped like tortilla type tacos. So those are some heart-shaped ideas for just like a regular yummy cozy meal that you could make at home from scratch. You could do my slow cooker French dip recipe for sandwiches. They are so good and it's so simple. So you just put a roast. I like to do a chuck roast, or you could do a sirloin tip. I do that sometimes. If our local beef farmer does not have a chuck roast in the size that I need, I'll get a sirloin tip. You just put that in the crock pot, and then you'll make your own au jus sauce with some butter and some beef stock, and then you put it all in there with seasonings, and it slow cooks all day long, so your house would smell amazing. If you have to work and you have no time to make a supper recipe when you get home for Valentine's Day, I highly recommend that recipe. It's really simple, and it can cook all day while you're at work. And then you could also do a sheet pan taco. So these are my favorite inventions. So last summer I created these recipes, and I have been in love with them ever since. I tell my friends about them. I tell everybody I meet about them because they are so simple and so good. When anybody asks me, what are your favorite recipes that are quick and simple and easy, I always say these sheet pan tacos. So I have two of them. There's one that's a Mexican mango chicken. It has garlic, chili powder, onion, salt, pepper, and mangoes, and then I put a little bit of green bell pepper in with it, and then you put that and the chicken all together. You mix everything together, and you put it all on a sheet pan and put it in the oven for about 30 minutes, and it's hands off. So you just dump everything on that sheet pan, bake it, and then it's ready to eat. And then you just shred the chicken and put it on tortillas. So it's a very great option for Valentine's Day. My other recipe for a sheet pan taco is my absolute favorite. It's a chipotle pineapple chicken taco. So it's the same thing. It's chicken, pineapple, chipotle seasoning, fresh garlic, and red onion. And oh my gosh, it is so good. The flavors are amazing. We just dump it on, put it in the oven, bake for 30 minutes. That's it. So those are some really good supper recipes. If you wanted something a little bit more hearty, you could do mini meatloaves. I have a recipe for those, and meatloaf burgers. Those are both great recipes. For a side, you could do baked mac and cheese, or you could do mashed potatoes and gravy. Just like, I think Saint Valentine's Day is during the middle of winter, or I guess the end of winter for us down here in the South, but it's so cold and you are craving something cozy and warm, and you just want to make everybody feel loved, no matter if you're cooking for yourself or your spouse or your family, even friends. You want to make people feel loved, and the best way to do that is with comfort food. So all of those options are wonderful. And then if you're looking for a drink that is non-alcoholic, I highly recommend my holiday punch, and this recipe is super easy. So it's sparkling water, orange juice, and then pomegranate juice, and then you add in a little bit of honey or cane sugar. You could do either, and then you mix it together, and it's like a sparkly punch. It's really wholesome, it's really easy, and it's pink. I guess it's more red, but it's perfect for Valentine's Day. It fits the theme. And then if you didn't want to do that, you could also do like a peanut butter hot chocolate. You could do a hot chocolate. You could just do the base of the hot chocolate. You could take my peanut butter hot chocolate recipe and leave out the peanut butter, and instead add in a few tablespoons of either a strawberry or cherry jam, and then you could just strain it before you pour it in your cup. Then you would heat it up the exact same way. You would have a strawberry, raspberry, or cherry hot chocolate. So those would be great options. And then if you wanted to do something like a soup, that's also another good idea. You could do my creamy Cajun chicken soup. That's fantastic. You could also do the chicken gnocchi soup. That's a really good one. It's my version of It's my take on the Olive Garden chicken and gnocchi soup. So yeah, those are all really good options. Not sure what we're gonna do this year. There are so many things to choose from. Sometimes we look at the blog and we're like, man, what do we want to make? Because honestly, my blog is my recipe box. So instead of having my recipes that I make on paper and stuffing them in the drawer or a recipe box, I just write them and put them online for you all to enjoy as well. So I use my website and my blog all the time to make my own recipes. I hope this podcast episode gave you some really fun supper ideas or dessert ideas that can help you make your Saint Valentine's Day a little bit more special and a little more cozy. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, bring life into your home through the kitchen.